त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्यवत्। ॐ गणेशाय नमः। ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्याः स्युः तं नमामि गजाननं। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्य केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं यस्य सन्निधिमात्रेण सर्वे शिष्याश्च सेवकाः कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम्। We will do the Pratasmaranam. Pratasmarami hridi samspuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamavaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham Nacha bhuta sanghaha. Pratarbhajami manasa vachasamagамyam vacho vibhanti nikila yadanugrahena yanneti neti vachanaihi nigama-vochuhu tam deva-deva-majam-achyutam-ahuragyam pratarnamami tamasa paramarkavarnam purnam sanatana padam purushottamākyam yasminnidam jagadasheshamasheshamurtau rajvam bhujangamayiva pratibhasitam vai rajvam bhujangamayiva pratibhasitam vai. Welcome back, everybody. Having understood the purpose of our study of Atma Bodha in the last two classes, let us start with the chant of our Mangala Charana Shloka. Before we begin the class, it is customary to chant this shloka because that is the Mangala Charana of Atma Bodha. Tapo bhikshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam mumukshunam apekshoyam atma bodho vidhiyate. We understood this shloka, the Anubandha Chatushtaya, the fourfold considerations as to who is the Adhikari. First one, who is the fit student that needs to study Atma Bodha? Shankaracharya ji said, Mumukshunam, the one who is desirous of liberation. You know, I already said there are 10 broad categories under which we will study this text. Tapobhihi kshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam. In addition to that, we saw that tapobhihi, by the performance of austerities, tapa. What sort of austerities? By japa, puja, worship of the Lord daily, by observing vratams like fasting, maunam. We saw some examples in the last week's class of tapa from the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sharirika tapa at the physical level, Vangmaya tapa at the speech level, Manasika tapa at the mental level. Please see this previous lecture on the YouTube. These are very good references. Kshina Papanam. In addition, he has developed a pure heart, less tendency to commit sinful actions by performing what? Nitya Naimittika karmas very efficiently. Shantanam. He is calm. He is composed. We have to check ourselves where we are with all these qualities. He is very well balanced. He is free from all worldly cravings, meaning he has a very good lifestyle of achara vichara, coupled with vichara, good conduct and inquiry. He is a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, or at least working to develop the 4Ds of Vedanta. Then we started the first topic of the text called moksha sadhana, or means to liberation. With that, we will recap those shlokas. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vahnivat jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. See, we had seen this shloka before during our study of Bhajagovindam, as I mentioned last week. I used this as a reference shloka to describe Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam. In that, Gnana Vihinaha Sarvamatena Bhajatina Muktim Janmashatena. In this shloka, Shankaracharya in Atma Bodha, he says, Atma Bodha is not one of the means to moksha, but the only means to moksha. We saw the reference of Purusha Suktam also. In that it says, Nanya Pantha Ayanaya Vidyate. That means mumukshus have no choice. Bodha, this knowledge, Anya sadhanebhyaha, in comparison to other sadhanas, Sakshat moksha eka sadhanam, direct means, the primary means, the only means to liberation. How? Pakasya vahnivat. For cooking, just as we need fire, which is the most important aspect of cooking, Gnanam vina mokshaha na siddhyati. Without this Atma Gnana, liberation is not possible. This is the methodology of Vedanta. I mentioned to you that it is Anvaya Vyatireka, a method of presence and absence. So now, we address the question, if Atma Bodha is the only means to moksha, why are scriptures prescribing so many sadhanas? Like japa, pilgrimage, puja, dana. Are they all invalid means? Vyartha sadhanas? No. Just like we prepare for cooking, we wash vegetables, we wash the vessel, we clean the stove, we clean the rice, spices are added. All these are sahakari sadhana. We also saw the reinforcement from Viveka Chudamani. Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha atmaikya bodhena vinapi mukti na siddhyate brahma shatantarepi. And in the shloka 711, he also said, Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhaye. All of these sadhanas that are mentioned in the scriptures will help for our spiritual growth, but by themselves directly will not lead to liberation. Then the question was asked, why is it not possible to get liberation from karma or through action? In the second shloka, in the third verse, avirodhitaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihantyeva tejastimira sanghavat. Aviroditaya karma. We saw in this shloka that all forms of sadhanas, Shankaracharya, what he has done, he has put it into one bucket called karma. He says all these karmas cannot give us moksha by itself. Aviroditaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet. Since karma or action is not opposed to avidya, ignorance, na vinivartayet, it cannot destroy ignorance. We analyzed this in detail in the last class. What can karma accomplish? Utpadyam, it can produce something. Prapyam, we can procure something or buy something. Samskaryam, we can purify something or refine something to something else. Vikaryam, I can modify. But Atma or Moksha Gnana is like rediscovering myself. It is already there. When it comes to Atma, it is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Atma. I don't have to produce it. I don't have to obtain it from somewhere. I don't have to modify it. I don't have to purify it. Therefore, Vidya eva avidyam nihanti. Knowledge alone will destroy my ignorance. How? Tejas Timira Sanghavat, that example. You know, I want one of you to, when you're studying this text, make a note of all the examples that are coming in the text. Okay? So, this darkness alone can removed by light. Same way, ignorance of the self, ignorance, ajnana, avidya, can only be removed by the pure light of the self-knowledge. We saw this, ajnana or ignorance is a notion. It's a notional ignorance. So this notion creates a motion, emotions, commotions, all that in our lives. How to rediscover my pure self? In the next shloka, Parichinna iva gnanat tannashe sati kevalah swayam prakashate hyatma megha paye amshumaniva. Parichinna iva agnanat. Because of this notional ignorance or agnana, the self appears to be parichinna, finite. Tannashe sati kevalaha. When the ignorance is destroyed, kevalaha, that which is absolute, that which is infinite, swayam prakashate, it reveals itself. It shines itself. How? Now comes the example again. Megha paye amshumaniva. Like that Amshuman, Surya Bhagavan, sun reveals itself. Megha paye. We went through what causes us to think that we are limited in detail in the last class. So please visit that lecture. Then the fifth shloka on moksha sadhana. Ajnana kalusham jivam gnana bhyasat vinirmalam krutva gnanam swayam nashyet jalam katakarenuvat. Ajnana kalusham jivam gnana bhyasat vinirmalam. By constant practice of this Atma Gnana, Vinirmalam, it purifies the egocentric self. And then what happens? Vinirmalam krutva swayam nashyet. We saw this example of jalam kataka renuvat. How in this, see, in the olden days, during the rainy season, they used to clean the wells, rivers. They would put the powder of the kataka nut on the surface of the water. As it became denser, it started to settle down, carry down along with it, kind of a decantation process, muddy impurities to the bottom of the well. So these non-Vedantic thoughts, through gnana bhyasa, I start giving my mind and intellect these Vedantic thoughts like aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And so over a period of time, it starts to seep in, replaces all our non-Vedantic chintanam with a Vedantic thought. Through the gnana bhyasa, it slowly dissolves. Then he answered a Purva Pakshi, the one who questions with a contrarian theory as to what happens to that gnana vritti. For that, Bhagavan says, Vinirmalam krutva swayam nashye. That thought also dissolves, and then swayam prakashate atma. Now with that, we will go to today's topic called nature of samsara, nature of our jagat that we live in. Shloka number 6. Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha swakale satyavat bhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. See, we have seen this shloka also before as a group. I had used this as a reference during Bhaja Govindam while describing shloka number 23 of Bhaja Govindam. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani kome tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Iti paribhavaya, said Shankaracharya ji then. Think well, consider what? Sarvam asaram. This world is essenceless. Vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Having abandoned this essenceless world, consider thinking into what is the dream, what is the waking, all this avastha traya viveka. Now let us see how he says this in our Atma Bodha. Samsara swapna tulyo hi. This world is swapna tulyaha, like a dream. Raga dveshadi sankulaha, full of aversion, full of attachment. Likes, dislikes. Swakale, just like the dream as we are experiencing it. Satyavat bhati, it appears to be real. Think. And prabodhe sati, as soon as we wake up, asat bhavet, it becomes unreal. With this shloka, now we are starting to dwell into the second topic, nature of samsara. Samsaranam, that where there is problems, dukkham, full of R&D, raga and dvesha. Because of our undue importance to the world, and its duality. See, by comparing this world to the Swapna Avastha, dream-like, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, what has he done? He is establishing what we call as anityatva, impermanence of the world. I had already told you this during Bhajagovindam. Adi Shankaracharyaji's guru, Sri Gaudapadacharyaji, in his Bhashya on Mandukya Upanishad, called Mandukya Karika, in that he establishes that the one which is anitya, which is drushyatvat, he calls it mithya. See, however ridiculous the dream may appear to the waker, but for the dreamer, as long as he is in that state, it is real, is it not? The dream world on its own has no independent existence. In the dream world, the mind is partially awake. With thoughts or unfulfilled desires. From where? From the waking state. There is time, there is space, and the mind creates its own body in the dream state. We even experience the gravitational force because you can experience falling in the dream or flying like a bird. You experience the sense of smell, touch. When the tiger in the dream is chasing you, you can almost smell its bad breath. All this is based on what? Borrowed existence from the waking state. Our Puja Gurudev used to jokingly say, in that dream, you were even married to that dream girl. And as soon as we wake up, what happens? Poof, everything is gone. Same way, Swakale Satyavat Bhati, as long as we are in that dream, it appears to be real. Prabodhe Sati Asat Bhavet. As soon as we wake up, it becomes unreal. We know that. Same way, we are not yet ready to accept that our waking state is also a prolonged dream. The reason is Mula Avidya, Ajnana, which creates this Adhyasa, this superimposition. Just like CRT tube, cathode ray tube, is a very important component for television that creates the image on the television. Our SRT tube, Sattva Raja Tamo Guna, creates, aided by Miss Maya and co., a world that appears to be real. This is called Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam, to make the impossible possible. My current notion is what? I am in the world. But the right Vedantic knowledge is the world is in me. I am not dependent on the world for my existence, but the world is dependent on me, on my consciousness. Once I wake up to that higher consciousness, I realize that both my dream world and the waking world are both impermanent. This is Nitya Anitya Viveka. Okay, we'll go to the next shloka, number 7. Tavat Satyam Jagad Bhati Shuktika Rajatam Yatha Yavannagnayate Brahma Sarvadhishthanamadvayam. See now, he explains the phenomena of illusion, adhyasa, in this shloka. We said the world appears to be real. Tavat Satyam Jagad Bhati. First line. The truth or the Brahman is not realized. World appears to be real. Tavat Satyam Jagad Bhati. As how long does the world appear to be real? Yeah. As long as the substratum, the truth, the Brahman is not realized, which is Sarva Adhishtanam Advayam. Sarva Adhishtanam Advayam, the non-dual Brahman, the one without the second. It is the substratum of all. How? Shuktika Rajata Rajatam Yata. Shuktika Rajatavat. The example is like we see that silver on the seashell. See, this is a common occurrence when you're walking on the beach. This mother of pearl, oyster shell or something like that, it appears to be shining because of that sunlight, appears that there is silver. See, we have seen other examples in Vedanta, like the rope and the snake, the post and the ghost, to describe the illusion. All those examples, what do they illustrate? Fear. It drives you away. Dvesha. In this example, it attracts you. You move towards this. See, the substratum, ashraya, in the clay and the pot example, let's say. Clay is the substratum. There may be many pots, but clay is one. Many size, many shapes, etc. But clay is one. We have many ornaments. Nose ring, bangle, earring, etc. But gold is one. Same way, this Jagat is Brahma Ashrita. It is the Adhishtanam. See, perception of plurality by itself will not create bondage. Giving reality to that perception. Like I know that there is silver in that seashell and I want it. That creates bondage. For example, the movie is being projected on the screen. A very common example. Whether it is a sad movie, whether it is a love story, horror movie, it doesn't matter. The screen, which is the substratum for the movie, will keep on projecting it. But it is unaffected by it. Asangha, Ashrita, that Adhishtanam, so long as this Mithya Prapancha is created by this false superimposition due to what we call in Vedanta as Anyonya Adhyasa, a mutual confusion created due to Ajnana, Aviveka, etc. The world will appear to be Satyam, real. Till when? As long as Yavat Nagnayate, Yavat Brahma na Nayate. As long as the Sarva Adhishtanam Brahman is not realized, not known to be the only real entity. As long as the truth is not known, what it does, it covers what is real due to the Avarana Shakti and projects what is unreal and makes it seem real. This is Vikshepa Shakti. How? Shuktika Rajatam Yata. Like that silver on the seashell. Now he expands this idea in the next shloka. Upadane akhila dare jaganti parameshware sargastiti layan yanti budbudani varini. Upadane akhila dare. The material cause, the upadana karana, akhila adhare, which is the support of everything. Jaganti, the universe, the cosmos. Jaganti is the plural for the word Jagat. Sarga Sthiti Layan Yanti. Sarga is the creation. Sthiti is the sustenance. Layan Yanti. Laya is dissolution. These lokas, they go through Sarga Sthiti Laya. In who? Parameshware. In that Supreme Lord. How? Budbudani, example, Budbudani Iva Varini. Like bubbles in Varini, in water. See, anything that is created in this creation has three types of causes. One is called the material cause. The second one is the efficient cause. And the third one is called the instrumental cause. I have explained this in detail in the basic Vedanta modules. Please revisit that. So let us take the pot example. The clay is the material cause. Upadana karana. And the potter who makes the pot, he is the efficient cause. And the potter's wheel that he makes the pot on is the instrumental cause. So if the finite has to come out of the infinite, the material cause and the efficient cause have to be the same. How? Like the bubbles in the water, the example. They rise in water. They sustain and exist in water. And when they dissolve, they merge back and become water. This is Sargasthiti Layanyanti Budbudani Iva Varini. So just as bubbles in water or in the ocean, which are nothing but Nama Rupa, different names and forms, they appear and disappear in water because water is the substratum for all the bubbles. Similarly, Kaivalya Upanishad says, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam Mayi Sarvam Pratishtitam Mayi Sarvam Layam Yanti Yati Tad Brahma Advayam Brahma Ahamasmi. The same idea is reinforced in the next verse, number 9. Satchidatmanyanusyute Nitye Vishnau Prakalpitaha Vyaktayo Vivida Sarvaha Atake Kataka Divat Satchidananda Atmani In that self, which is of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss, Anusyute, all pervading, Nitye, eternal, Vishnu Prakalpitaha, projections on that Vishnu, mental projections on the substratum, which is of the nature of eternal, Nitya. Vishnu here means not the Chaturbhuja Vishnu, Vyapakatvat Vishnu, all pervading Vishnu, whose nature is that of Sat Chit Ananda. How? Atake Katakadivat. Example. Just like we have many ornamentations made out of the same gold, we call them bracelet, we call them bangles. What is the essence of all of these ornaments? Gold. The price we pay for that metal is established based on gold, not based on its Namarupa. It may be worn on different parts of the body. You might call it nose ring, bangle, bracelet, many different names. But the essential ingredient, the Upadana Karana, is gold. The same way, Vyaktaha Vividaha, several manifestations, all Namarupas of the world, Sarvaha Prakalpitaha, they are all projected on Vishnu, who is of the nature of Nitya, eternal, Anusyute, all pervading. Who is of the, see, all this is Vedantic vision. The right vision to see that oneness in the divisions, the oneness in many. Key thing, there seems to be a difference between me and the Lord, the difference between me and you and me. How can you say that Brahman is Advayam, one without the second? The answer is in the differences are illusory and it appears to be there, and he explains that in the next shloka. Yathakasho Rushikeshaha Nanopadhigato Vibhuhu. Tadbhedat Binnavadbhati Tannashe Kevalo Bhavet. Yatha Akashaha, just as space. How many spaces are there? There is only one space. Rishikeshaha, the omnipresent truth. Nana Upadigataha, the omnipresent truth, which is associated with upadis, the conditionings. Vibhuhu, the all-pervading. Tat Vedat appears to be distinct from each other. Binnavat Bhati appears to be diverse. Tannashe, Tatnashe, upon destruction of these conditionings, Kevalaha Bhavet, it becomes one in our understanding. Let us take an example of our own homes. We have a drywall put everywhere in that space. We call it the living room. To be honest with you, I don't know why we call it the living room, because nobody lives there. We hardly use it. We should call it non-living room, actually. Then we have the family room, space for closets. Then we have multiple bathrooms, multiple bedroom space, and so on and so forth. Now, let us say you remove all these conditionings or tear down these walls mentally, okay? That this condition, the artificially created spaces, then there is only one space, is it not? Same way, Vibhuhu, the all-pervading Brahman, the truth, appears to be pluralistic. Nana upadhi gataha, because there are many conditionings. Because of these various conditionings that it functions through, our limited adjuncts, like our body, like our mind, like our intellect, associated sense organs. It appears to be different. How? Yata akashaha. Just like space divided into many compartments. Tannashe, when we pull down these walls, sati kevalo bhave. See, this is a good meditative verse. Lot of pointers are given. Let me share some of the pointers. Space is all pervading. You can imagine that in your meditation. Space is untouched by all. Asangha. It does not undergo any modification. All these are properties to describe, lakshanas to describe Atman, Brahman. Brahman is all pervading, changeless, avikari, nirvikari. The main difference between space and Atma is space is Jadaswarupa, inert. Atma is Chaitanya Swarupa. Now, that you can meditate on. So we'll move to the last verse in this topic. Nanupadhi vashadeva jati varna shramadayah atmanyaropitastoye rasavarnadi bedhavat. See, now, because of the association with different conditionings, Nana Upadi Vashat Eva, association with the Upadis, Jati Varna Shramadayah, caste, color, position are all superimposed on this Atman. Atmani aropitaha. How? Example now comes. Toye, just like water, has different flavors. Rasa varnadi vedavat. Like we have Coke, Pepsi, Canadian spring water, lemon flavored water, different sodas. But water basically is colorless, odorless. Same way, I perceive these upadhis, the differences, and recognize only the anatma. The varnashrama are the stages of life. So in this verse, ashrama here is brahmacharya, gruhastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa ashrama. Then there is jati, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, iti. But Shankaracharya ji in Viveka Chudamani very clearly says, Atma is far from all these superimpositions. And he says जाति नीति कुल गोत्र दूरगम नाम रूप गुण दोष वर्जितम देश काल विषयातिवर्तियत ब्रह्म तत्वमसि भावयात्मनि ब्रह्म तत्वमसि भावयात्मनि. So that concludes our topic for today. The next topic is from shlokas 12 through 18. We have already covered this in detail in the Adhyatma Prakasha series also, but it will be a good refresher. The topic is gross body, subtle body, causal body. Because now he has to use the anatma to point to atma. Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. This we will cover in the next class. And now I will share.
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, 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 Jai Ram.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Purnamadav Purn Om. May all be happy, may all be healthy, may all see auspiciousness, may none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace. With that, I'll open it up for Q&A. Please stay back. Thank you.